1899 was easily one of my most anticipated shows of the year. Dark is one of the best Netflix originals of all time. Does this live up to the hype? At least at this point, we're going to talk about it. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel and my temporary messy set in the background. We'll get back to normal here soon, but I want to talk about 1899. So this is a series where I need your thoughts down below. Is this one you were looking forward to if you've seen it? And do you think this is a show that could turn into something spectacular? Let's talk about the synopsis. And a migrant steamship heads west to leave the old continent. The passengers, a mixed bag of European origins, united by their hopes and dreams for a new century and their future abroad. But their journey takes an unexpected turn when they discover another migrant ship adrift on the open sea. What they find on board will turn their passage to the promised land into a horrifying nightmare. This series is rated TVMA or TV mature for language, sexual violence, smoking, and probably a few more things that aren't listed. If you watched and were a fan of the German series Dark, this is a show that does take cues from that experience, and Dark was one of the more well put together plot threads I've ever seen. And they say if you watch it in a different order with these episodes first, it's still going to make sense. And I haven't tested that theory, but I have watched it several times, and the more you watch it, the more you get from it. And I feel like that could be the case with 1899, but I will say it doesn't get off to as strong of a start as Dark did. And I mean that by watching these first two episodes, I am a little more confused than I wanted to be. And knowing the types of creators behind this series, I was willing to give it way more of a chance than I would other shows in this nature. So while I was trying to put puzzle pieces together and trying to get more into the dialogue than maybe I was also appreciating what these first two episodes were offering, and that is a beautiful sense of atmosphere. And that's one thing that Dark captured from beginning to end, and 1899 has that, right? Obviously set in the year 1899. They're on this steamboat, and it's a dirty, just foggy, all the way around rough setting. You have some who are higher class, and even though they're dressed beautifully, they're in this place to where they're going to walk around and they're going to look more dirty as the episode progresses. It doesn't really matter which character you're following along, whether they are on the top level of the ship or the bottom. And there are layers to the way certain characters are handled, the way certain characters are talked to. In the first episode, you get an example of a group of people lower down on the boat, and they say at one point there's like 1,500 people on this boat. It doesn't feel like that at first. It feels like it's an extremely subdued location, but that's not the case. When we explore the other places on this boat, we realize that there are way more people than originally expected. And the trajectory of where this boat is headed is somewhere that wasn't clear at first, but they say it in the summary, and we get it as we progress. They discover this other ship called Prometheus, and you hear that name, and obviously you think it's going to mean something, and that ship in general, and the people on board that ship. And one thing that they find, maybe a character of sorts, and I don't want to dive into who that character is or the role that that character plays, but that is something that sparks madness. Oh, pure chaos on the steamboat that we are following these characters on. Characters that are individually explored separately in every single episode, because while I was sent the first 6 episodes, it feels like every single one you're following a different story. Now, obviously, those stories are going to intersect, and you're going to start to bring all of that together in episode 3. Episode 3 was the first time that I said to myself, okay, not only is this starting to come together and make more sense, but I'm also way more invested now than I was, and the way that this starts to play out in episode 3 makes me start to look at this script a little bit more and say, okay, it's starting to feel a little more complex and a little less convoluted, and unfortunately that's the way I was feeling throughout the first 2 episodes while appreciating all of the beautiful technical elements. I mean, from the score to the song choice, they play a song at the end of episode 1, it starts to amp up, and I'm like, all right, They know exactly what they're doing, and that really got me on board for episode 2. But episodes 3 and 4, I started to get hooked, I started to get captivated, and you can tell I'm trying my best to tiptoe around spoilers here. I guess I can kind of dive into episode 1 at least a little bit. It's October 1899. Everyone on this boat, they're attending a party, and it seems like there's a bit of worry in the air. Everyone seems a bit on edge, a bit anxious, because we learned that this other steamship, the Prometheus, is still missing after 4 months, and it's a similar ship that is built by the same company. So all of the odd things that are happening to this other ship, the ones aboard our ship, they feel like they are not out of harm's way just yet. And then you have Mara, who goes to a completely different part of the ship, a place to where people say she shouldn't go, helping a pregnant woman. You have some very strange things that are being said to her there. And then the captain receives a message from this lost ship that does kind of reveal something huge, something absolutely integral to the plot going forward, and something that sparks kind of a revolution of sorts in episode 3 when everything starts to hit the fan and people become aware of strange things happening on board our ship, maybe a death or two. They start to go after the thing that they find from the Prometheus. The crazy thing about this first episode is you have so many people from different countries, and I like the idea of utilizing different languages, right? Some of it is in English, but not all of it is. According on what country they are from, they are speaking their own language. So I like that. I appreciate that. But it's also this sense of dread that is in the air. They're all gathered on this ship, but they're not really able to enjoy anything. They're in these claustrophobic, dark-looking cabins. And it seems like it's going to be more of a down-to-earth human type drama, other than obviously this other ship, and you don't really know what's at play there. But then the supernatural starts to come into play, and there are some strange things happening on board our ship to the characters that we are following and being introduced to at the beginning, and then getting a chance to explore who they are in subsequent episodes. And again, there are plot points that are interesting in the beginning, and when they play that track at the end of episode 1, I'm like, all right, come on. It's like you guys are speaking to me, and you know me very well. But it's like walking through thick and murky water, trying to get from plot point to plot point, and listening to the dialogue, trying to soak it in and put these puzzle pieces together. But, there aren't even that many puzzle pieces laid out in the first 2 episodes. So I don't know if they're going to work as well as, fans of Dark are hoping for. It's also just very frustrating because you're struggling so hard to put these plot points together, which is why I'm still a bit iffy. But the idea of spreading these clues around for fans to pick up on as we are going, and getting moments within the dialogue, and hearing phrases from characters that come back into play, and just those scary, a horrifying situation. There's one situation where a character she puts herself into this container of sorts, and whether it's actually happening or not, she's finding herself being thrown into the water and begins to drown while being unable to escape. And it's those types of situations that are all through this series, or all through the first 6 episodes, that will have you on the edge of your seat, no doubt. I've thought about this for a while. These creators, they have earned our patience. They've earned the opportunity to be able to flesh out stories and give characters proper arcs that don't just take a few episodes, that take many more episodes. The show takes its time. There are several characters that have dream sequences, and it's hard to distinguish what reality is from what is not actually happening, but could be happening to certain characters. You do feel that things are beginning to come together, but I'm not fully there yet. I haven't seen the end game. I don't even know what the end game could be, so I want more of a trajectory of where these characters are headed. Both literally and metaphorically, there is a revelation of sorts halfway through the season to where you realize this boat is not doing exactly what you believe it's doing in the first few episodes, so are they really heading anywhere? We don't know, and that's the thing. We don't know. I don't know until I see the end of this season with you all when it releases tomorrow, Thursday, November 17th. I'm going to hold out a few judgments. Since this is a spoiler-free review, I want to give you guys my final thoughts. But if you are here and you're already leaving your comments, please, if you want to see something more regarding the ending to where we can actually talk some spoilers, let me know down below. I want to know if you guys want to see that. And of course, if you want to drop that like, that would help this video immensely and this channel. Be sure to subscribe for more $18.99 content. And $18.99 will send your mind on a journey that is both frustrating yet enthralling. Viewers may not be immediately rewarded, but there are plot points that could lead us to something special as this series progresses, and I do believe we could get there, but it could also become too overly convoluted. We just have to see. I'm not going to give it a score yet. I've only seen 6 episodes. I'm in that 7 to 8 range, maybe lower 7, but I am very encouraged as to what we could get in the future. Again, my most anticipated show of this portion of the year, so a lot's at stake here for me. I want to keep going. I need these final few episodes. Thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to start that conversation below. I'll see you soon.